Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niuniu and I'm joined by Steve Hatherley. If you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get a grip on the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. So, for your free Chinese to take away, Steve, first I'd like to ask you a question because I've been talking to a lot of foreign friends who wanted to learn Chinese. Can you guess what is the most desired phrases they want to learn?
That your friends want to learn?
Yeah, my foreign friends.
When they live here or when they're just traveling here?
Both, a little bit both. Actually, the answer is the same.
Oh, really? I don't know. Because the reason I can't take a guess is because there's a million possibilities.
There are a million possibilities, yet apparently many of them want to learn how to say hello. That's for sure, 你好, but most of them have already been exposed to this expression in a lot of other occasions, so they already know how to say 你好. Some of them want to say I love you. That is a good one.
Okay.
Well, I do that too when I am new to a language. I'd like to know how to say I love you in that language. I cannot use it in a certain scenario because apparently I cannot say I love you to a stranger in a strange country.
That would seem like a weird thing to do, I think,
but
right?
It's a fun thing to say because if you cannot really say it to anybody, but you can show people you know how to say it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's like saying in English, I know, I love you.
Yeah.
You say, oh, yeah, that is, I love you in English.
It's true.
It's lovely.
Yeah, it's true. It's one of the first things people learn how to say, I guess, in a language, even though it's something that you're not going to say.
사랑해요, right?
On a daily basis. 사랑해요 is exactly how you say it in Korean.
In
That's
Korean, right? I know how to say I love you in many languages. But
listen,
I don't know many languages.
If you're going to say it in Korean, you have to say it like Korean drama style.
Really?
사랑해.
That's really good. I know this is improbable, but if we have a Chinese girl learning Korean from a Canadian guy in English kind of show,
wouldn't that be
cool.
funny? Wouldn't that be
funny?
Learn Korean through an English speaker who speaks Korean as a second language, third language.
I don't think many people would listen to that for the purpose of learning.
Probably not, nor should they.
Nor should they. But the idea is that there are many things people want to learn when they start to learn a new language.
What is it then in Chinese, I love you?
我爱你.
我爱你.
Yes. It's not that difficult. 我 is I. 爱 is love. And 你 is you. I love you.
I love you.
你. Yeah.
Literal translation.
Very easy and very grammatically correct. Very useful.
There you go.
And that is 我爱你, I love you in Chinese. And actually, one thing that I've been asked so many times about how to say in Chinese is, this is so expensive, I cannot afford it.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure whether or not it's the case. I don't think it's the case for many people. It's not that something is really too expensive. It's more like this is their bargaining expression.
Yes, it's a bargaining technique. And that is exactly what I wanted to ask you about today for my takeaway Chinese. Can you give me a discount? Can you give me a small discount? Now, I know from culture to culture, asking for discounts is either acceptable or sometimes expected, because people in different markets, right? They expect you to ask, and it's all part of the purchasing process. But in other cultures, in other markets, in other places,
supermarkets?
In supermarkets, there's no negotiating over the price of a banana, right? But if you're at a fruit market and you're buying a lot of fruit, then maybe you can ask for some kind of discount. So that's my question today, and I thought we could talk about the haggling culture here in China, whether it exists or whether it doesn't exist or if it used to exist.
Yes, actually it exists, of course, here in China. We have a really long history. I think it's safe to say many things, most of the things have already happened here or had happened here. So yes, the discounting culture, the bargaining, haggling culture is definitely part of a very important culture. Of course, nowadays, with more and more people purchasing online, with more and more people purchasing in supermarkets or even shopping in a mall, yet the kind of mall that do not really authorize their salesperson to give you the kind of discount, or at least different salesperson with different level would have different rights to give you different levels of discounts,
Yes.
that kind of situations. So it's not an integral part of our life as it used to be. Yet it's definitely there, and there are many ways of saying it. One very common one, the one related to discounts, as you said, is 打折吗?
打
折
折
吗?
ma.
Uh-huh.
Ma, we know, is the question.
Yes
the,
or no.
The question part.
Uh-huh.
打折
Is discount.
折 is
折
discount.
Yes, 打折.
打折吗?
打折吗? Yes, precisely. It's easy, 3 characters. And you can kind of understand 打 as the verb here. It's like having a discount.
Okay.
And 折 is a bit like the noun part of the word. The word itself is a verb, yet you can also understand the nature of each characters differently. And 折 itself also carries the meaning of fold. So if you think about the price as a paper and you fold it a little bit, it gets smaller.
Okay. Yeah, so
Right?
that makes sense.
It makes sense.
打折吗?
打折吗?
Now, can you play with the tone of your voice, not the tones in the words, to make it a little more playful? I find oftentimes when asking for a discount in a market or at a shop, then if you're a little bit more charming, if you're a little bit more playful, then you're a little bit more likely to receive that. We were shopping for plants near our radio station. There's this beautiful plant market. It's underground, and it looks like the type of place where you could negotiate a little bit. It's not in a department store. It's not in a high-rise building. It's an underground plant market. So when we were buying our plants, I used the phone translator to ask for a discount. And in the beginning, the shop owner's like, no. And then I switched to English and I said, oh, come on. Now, maybe they didn't
Use your
understand,
charm
come on. But they understood what I was trying to do. Here's my question. Instead of 打折吗, which sounds very formal, could I say something like 打折吗? Something like that.
I understand how come you wanted to do that because I feel like that's a very Korean kind of accent or tone or feeling behind that.
Yeah.
Like you said, 打折吗 is a little bit too serious or official because 打折吗 itself can be translated as a discount. Can I have a discount? Of course, you can say 打个折吧. So we talked about 打 is the verb kind of character, 折 is the noun kind of character, and 个 is actually a measure word. It's like a little bit of something. What you're trying to say here is 打一个折. 一个 is one. So the number plus the measure word plus the noun is the official or a very common way of talking about a certain object. That's not the point. The point here is 打个折嘛. It's kind of like making it a bit lighter, making it a bit more conversational. But 打折, the action itself carries the meaning of having a certain percentage of discount. And that is not very common in a fresh market or a plant market. The common way of doing that is they deduct a certain number from the price. So, for example, if the price is 9.5 yuan, I would say, I would get rid of the 0.5. It'll be just 9. Or if it's 12, I'll get rid of the 2 and give you just 10. Round up the number a little bit.
Okay.
So precisely that is what people do when they make things cheaper in China, which means the discount mentality is used in a relatively formal occasion. which means the discount mentality is not suitable when you want to be less official, when you want to be a little bit playful. So what people usually do is to precisely just use the word, can you make it cheaper? Can you offer me a cheaper price? Which is 便宜点吧.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
便宜.
便宜.
Yes, 便宜 means cheaper or cheap.
Okay, 便宜.
点. 点 means a little bit. 点 in itself is a dot. So 点 is a little bit.
点嘛.
Ma, yes. And
Okay.
this ma is a different ma. This is not the yes or no question signal kind of ma.
Oh.
This is like, please, let's do this. Like, I'm trying to persuade you to do this.
便宜点嘛.
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 See, now you hear the tone.
便宜点嘛.
Ah, exactly. That is a good one. And that is the one you can use in a fresh food market, a plants market, not in a high-end restaurant, not in a super luxurious brands all over the place kind of mall.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in those malls, you can say 打折,打个折吧, or 打折吗?
So, if I'm buying a plant and I want to ask how much is this, then first I can say 多少钱?
How much money? Yes, 多少钱?
多少钱 means how much is
Yes.
this? And if they said 100 yuan, that would mean 100 yuan. Then I can say 便宜点嘛.
Perfect.
便宜点嘛.
便宜点嘛. Right? That's the persuading and negotiating kind of way.
And this is the expression where you can be a little bit cutesy
Exactly.
with your tone, but if you say 大舅嘛, then that's perhaps a little bit more. You're probably not buying a plant in a plant market.
No.
Right?
And also when it comes to 打折嘛, here's another thing. In China, or maybe at least according to my life experience, if we're talking about a discount, it's more or less a discount, a promotional campaign kind of activity that is happening, for example, in the mall. It's not like the salesperson can give you the discount willy-nilly. It's more like during this period of time, it's the 中秋 festival, the Mid-Autumn Festival is approaching. We are having this discount campaign here in the mall, and different stuff in different categories would enjoy different discounts. And for this one, there is 15%, that one is 20%. And you ask 打折吗? It's kind of like saying, recently, do you have any promotional campaign? It's not saying, can you give me precisely that discount?
In a restaurant, sometimes in America or Canada or other countries, you can ask the server, do you have any specials today? Is 打折吗 asking, is there anything on the menu that is discounted?
Actually, you can use that. And when you use that, most of the times they would recommend to you some specials of the day. Another way of saying it is definitely to ask whether or not you have any combo of food with a staple, with meat, with it's just a set, a meal set. We would also ask 有套餐吗? That's the meal set phrase. But yes, if you say 打折吗, probably they will understand that the idea is that I'm looking for something more cost effective.
Oh, okay. So you're not necessarily asking for the specials or the already discounted items. You're just asking for
A better plan.
a cheaper something. So if I go to a restaurant and they come to the table and they're asking, what can I get for you? Then if I ask 打折吗, then I'm asking, what's something affordable on here?
My feeling is that the helper would definitely understand what you're looking for, but it's not something that people will use, or at least native speakers would use in a restaurant.
That's good to know.
And we can also say 有没有特价菜? We know 有没有 is whether or not you have this.
Do you have it or not?
Is there this? And 特 is 特殊 special. 价格 price. So 特价 would be special price. It's not specially high. It's definitely lower than usual. And 菜 is dish. So 特价菜 basically is talking about the special. So that is a more common expression you will hear in a restaurant.
I understand.
So when it comes to buying things, there are different ways. And we've already talked about this being a little bit cute, saying, come on, give me a better price kind of way. Actually, there are a lot of bargaining ways that I am not an expert at, but I know this one. That is play hard to get. Play hard to get as a consumer. It's like...
Okay, not in a romantic way.
Not in a romantic way. I'm still talking about shopping. And when you're shopping, you can act like, I kind of like the item you're selling, but
no, I don't know.
I don't know. And it's not the kind of I don't know, as in I haven't made up my mind. It's like, no, this is way too expensive. I'm not getting that unless you give me a discount.
Right.
In that case, people would go to the phrase that we talked about in the beginning of the show. That is, this is too expensive. I'm not buying that with that price. And that is 太贵了.
太贵了.
And 太 here means very or too. And 贵 is expensive. 了 is put at the end of the sentence to make the sentence grammatically correct.
Oh, okay. 太贵了.
太贵了. This is too expensive.
太贵了.
I am not doing that.
太贵了.
便宜点. So this is too expensive, make it cheaper. So here you're not playing cutesy. You're playing hard to get as a customer. So 太贵了,便宜点. So this is too expensive, make it cheaper. And here 便宜 is used as actually a verb. So instead of being the adjective as not expensive, as cheap, you're using it as make it cheaper. 便宜点. We talked about 点 being the a little bit. So when you say 便宜点嘛, make it a bit cheaper. It's kind of like the persuading, cutesy kind of tone. And 便宜点, make it cheaper. It's almost like an order. It's you're commending them to make it cheaper.
In what space can we use these expressions? 太贵了 and then 便宜点. In what situation would you use that? If you're shopping at a market for, let's say you're buying a purse or something, or a backpack or something like that, like you would find in a common market, and they give you a price and you say, in that situation, can I say, 太贵了,便宜点?
You can.
Okay.
You can. These are, I feel like, the same situations that you would use 便宜点嘛, make it cheaper, or actually even in a relatively high-end market where you feel like you can negotiate, because those markets exist as well.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yes.
Okay, so as important as it is to learn these expressions for me to use, for a new student of Chinese to use, we also need to know a little bit about what the other person is going to say, right? So that we know how to respond. If I say to someone at a market when I'm shopping, they say, oh, it's this price. And I say, 太贵了. Then they will probably ask me, then how much do you want to pay? So what is that sentence?
Okay, so to start with, they would say 不贵. It's not expensive at all.
Okay, that's good. 不贵.
不贵. It's not expensive.
太贵了. We know 不 is the negative. That means not. 不贵. No, it's not.
And maybe, like you said, they would say, how much are you willing to give? Something like 你能给多少? How much are you giving? But I have to admit, I'm not an expert when it comes to this. Most of this situation I have encountered, they would just give me a price that is just a little bit smaller than the price on the price tag. So if it's 510, they would say, I'll give you with 500. So it's more like numbers you're expecting.
I got it. Okay, yeah. So they might not say a sentence, but they might respond with a number.
With a number.
That's more likely.
That's more likely. So with today's free Chinese to take away, see, you do not even have to ask for a discount. It's free. When it comes to this, I think it's a good example to see that even though we say the Chinese language has 4 and 5 tones, the tone behind the sentences, the feeling, the way you say it actually matters a lot.
Yeah. And that's the case with probably most languages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is the case with Chinese as well. I think because some people would find it a bit confusing. You've already got the 5 tones with each characters. Do you have room for different tones? Yes, we do. And Steve has demonstrated quite well when it comes to 便宜点嘛 and 便宜点嘛 or 太贵了便宜点. See, you can hear the difference.
And the reason I picked up on this is because of paying attention to flipping through the channels on television, stopping for a few minutes on Chinese dramas. Not because I can understand, but only to watch how people behave when they speak. And also when I'm out in public, how people use their voices and their body language when they're in different contexts, in different situations. And yeah, of course, in Chinese too, people act cute sometimes and people act angry sometimes. And you can hear that reflected in the tone of their voice. So of course, they're using the tones for the words correctly, but there's also the tone in their emotion mixed in with those tones from the words too.
Precisely that.
Yeah.
And since I say this quite a lot, but I have to reiterate it once again, since it's really important, Chinese is really a high context language. Sometimes with just 2 or 3 words combined together, forming a sentence, the meaning of that sentence can vary quite drastically in different situations, and you have to read between the lines. You have to read the context in the sense that understand what is said beforehand to understand what the sentence actually mean. And when it comes to communicating with people via, for example, WeChat or text message, written message will lose a little bit. You would find certain meanings lost in the written messages minus the tone because it matters quite so much in Chinese as well. And we can be very sarcastic if we want as well. So yeah, this is a very colorful language. And after this 5 episodes with Steve, hopefully you find it more interesting and more things to explore, not intimidating and cannot learn the language or losing the confidence.
One final thing before I wrap up my episode series with you. One really easy thing that I've noticed a little bit different from English to Chinese is the simple use of the word ni hao. You can use this when you greet people, but you can also use this when you're out in public and you want to get someone's attention. In English, if you want to get a waiter's attention, if you want to get a salesperson's attention, then you would say, excuse me, pardon me, could I speak with you? Could I bother you for a second? But in Chinese, you can simply say, ni hao. And that also acts as, excuse me, hello, I need some attention here.
I use that all the time.
Everybody uses it all the time.
Yeah,
I see it everywhere all the time. So you can use it on the phone. You can use it in person when you're saying hello. But if you're at a shop and you want the person to pay attention to you, you can simply say hello, hello. And that's how people do it here.
Yes. And that is the everyday language that you use quite often. I feel like it's not used that frequently among my parents' generation or my grandparents' generation. But the thing is, like any other languages, Chinese language continues to evolve in ways that we introduce new words from outside of Chinese language, from other culture as well. Chocolate is something we introduced to China, and then we introduced the word 巧克力 to China for sure. And we also create new words because young people are using these new words quite often.
Sure,
and they started
that happens in every language too.
Every language, and they started to put it in the language, use it to express really interesting concepts that you didn't have a word for previously. And it's a good thing. And also we see with the development of the country, more and more people have access to be exposed to overseas cultures, and they started to, as young people, they are quite innovative, and they combine English and Chinese, they combine Japanese and Chinese, they combine all the other languages with Chinese and create these words that couldn't exist in the Chinese language. Now we say a lot like 爱人 and 艺人. 人, you know, is person or people already. Do you know what's I and 艺?
No.
Introvert and extrovert.
No. No, I didn't know that.
We have words for that. We have 内向. 内向 is introvert.
Yeah.
And 外向, 外 means outward, to out. So 向 is towards. So 内向 is towards inner. 外向 is towards outer. So 内向 is the introvert. 外向 is the extrovert.
外向
外向人.
外向
外向. So see, even in the occasions that you've already got the word to describe the situation, the quality that you want to use, with the development of the language, with more young people using new words to describe things, they introduce new words into the language and have it evolved.
And before we finish up today, I want to go back to an expression that we learned in a previous episode. And that was asking, where is the bathroom? But you taught me that if bathroom or washroom was too difficult to remember, which it was for me at that moment, 卫生间, which is bathroom. So 卫生间在哪儿?
Yes.
But I couldn't remember 卫生间. But I could remember 在哪儿, and I could also remember what you taught me, WC.
Yes.
And you told me if you go out around Beijing, people will definitely know what WC is. So I was at a restaurant and I said to the server, WC 在哪儿? And he pointed to the bathroom. And I was very pleased.
Oh, I'm very happy that you're actually using the expressions.
Yes.
Hopefully, all of you who are listening would get the courage from that example and start using your Chinese in a real Chinese-speaking environment. You will find it much, much easier than you imagined.
Take what you learn from Takeaway Chinese, get out there in the world, and put these expressions to use until they become comfortable for you to use without thinking about it too much.
And that is learning. That brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin with Steve here in the studio. For more episodes of the show, you can visit our website at radio.cjtn.com and go to the column podcast. You can also listen to the show and read the script there. Find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Just search for Takeaway Chinese. Don't forget to leave your questions, comments, and ratings. 感谢收听，我们下次再见。
谢谢。